Hello everyone! Hello mga ka-Fredsters! It's another day and it's another journey with your teacher, ka-Freddy, at your service. Hello sa inyong lahat dyan mga ka-Fredsters. Magandang umaga, magandang gabi, magandang tanghali kung saan man kayo naroon. And thank you for tuning in for our live stream episode here at Journey with Freddy or Kwentuhan with Journey with Freddy. Ayan mga ka-Fredsters, for today's episode is, I think it's going to be our last episode for November because I'm just going to make sure that I am ready for my holidays for December because I plan to go to the Philippines in December. So for today's episode, we are going to be joined by our professor who is a, TAC leader and in engaged partners and also I would say a specialist in recruiting, talents across the world. Right. But before that, mga professors, I would like, first of all, I would like to invite you again sa ating Facebook page. All right. If you are have not done it yet, please follow me on my Facebook page. That is Journey with Freddy, where I discuss my teaching experience or my life in the UK experience as well and my teaching journey here in the UK. So please make sure to follow my Facebook page. And also, mga professors, we have my YouTube channel. Okay, we are now growing. We are on our 3,120 subscribers, and we are growing, mga professors. And thank you very much for subscribing and for joining my advocacy in teaching. And I actually know that Filipinos will be in the in the world of teaching across the globe. And of course, mga professors, we also have our Facebook group, which is Filipino Teachers in the UK and EU. So, ayan. So, kung hindi ka pa part ng community, please make sure to to join this group. All right, so because this group is for Filipino teachers or for those Filipinos who are wanting to become a teacher here in the United Kingdom, or maybe in EU, because now some of our ka-Fredsters here in this group are actually from the EU, like in France. So, yan. Kung may tanong kayo, if you have any questions, mga ka-Fredsters, if you have any questions for our guests, and if you are part of the Facebook group, please make sure you add this one under your app, which is www.streamyard.com/Facebook. So, yan yung kailangan yung i-add para makita natin yung mga names ninyo. And of course, but not the least, before I'm going to introduce our guests for today, we have on the 2nd of December. Yeah, on the 2nd of December, we going to have our first listening circle. So it's like a meet and greet with the Filipino educators. If you are a teaching assistant or if you are a teacher here in the UK, no matter what form or size, if you are working in a secondary, primary, or an FE or further education, please join us and meet each other because we have not done it yet. And there's just few Filipino teachers in the UK, and we hope that this is going to grow by the help of our ka-Fredster here, she's going to introduce herself soon, right? So, without further ado, mga professors, I would like to introduce and welcome to you all our professor Megan, who is, like I said, a TAC team leader or talent acquisition consultant, uh, and I would say recruitment consultant, of course, internationally. So she actually she's going to introduce herself, and from Engaged Partner. So let's welcome Megan. Hello, Megan. Good
Hello,
afternoon.
Freddie. Thank you for having me today. Yeah, as Freddie said, everybody, I'm Megan. I work for Engage Education. We are a recruiting company that recruits teachers both locally. So even if you are a Filipinos teacher and you are in the UK, we can help you get a job in the UK when you are there. But myself and my team, what our jobs are actually to get teachers from abroad all over, including obviously Philippines, to be able to go over and work in a school in the UK. We get asked constantly how many schools in what areas. We have about 1,800 schools in the UK. Obviously, some months we grow with schools, and so with regards to area specific, we do recruit for all over the UK, and we really do have a success rate. Myself personally have recruited a few Filipino teachers for September that are staying on for Jan, which is great. So that's what I do.
Wow. That's a lot of job, Miss Megan. I mean, across, yeah, because like I said, mga professors, Megan is actually TAC across the globe. So they have, branches, I think in South Africa. So just to give you an insight, so Megan lives in South Africa. So I just managed to invite her over here in our channel because she's really willing to help Filipinos to work here in the UK or to work in other countries, not just only in the UK. So that's going to be a real, change for our, teaching career. If if you're coming from Philippines. So yeah, they have the one in Canada, United States, South Africa, uh,
Ireland.
Ireland. Yeah. Oh yes, of course.
Ireland. But we do also regular visits to the UK. I was in the UK now for 2 weeks in September. So we do also go to the UK and spend time there with. So we have offices. We have 4 offices in the UK, in Leeds, which is up north, in Watford, which is just north of London. We have in London, and then we have our Brighton office, which is along by the coast by the sea. And when I did go there now, we go and visit the offices, speak to the consultants. So we have sales consultants that deal with the schools, and then myself and my team, which deal with the teachers. And we are all ex-teachers. I was a teacher for 8 years, so which was great. So I
Geography
understand
teacher.
geography teacher, but I understand what it's like to be a teacher and what teachers go through.
All right. Okay. Miss Megan, they always ask me this question because I have a lot of messages from my Facebook page. They're asking me like, how can I actually work in the UK? ka-Freddy, how can I actually work in the UK? What should be the first process? So I always said I came here with a tier 1 visa, which is a general migrant visa, which is HSMP, way back, and then I had difficulty. I'm gonna be honest with you, Megan, and with our professors. I had difficulty finding a teaching job, primarily because I didn't know that time that I need to have a QTS or qualified teaching status. And then on, a recruitment agency actually helped me to find, a teaching career. Whether it's a cover teacher, whether it's a invigilator. So I experienced those kind of teaching support before I become a qualified teacher in the UK. So I think it's really important. There's a pivotal role here as a recruitment, educational recruitment agency. So Miss Megan, they always ask, what is the specialist of engaged partners?
Okay, so coming back to your first question about how to get over, there's 2 ways in which a teacher can work in the UK or have working rights in the UK, and that's either through a working visa. So it could be something like a spousal visa, a dependence visa, maybe a post. If you went to go study in the UK, you can work after your studies in the UK. So if you have those working rights, then that's your one way of being able to work in the UK as a international teacher. And your second way is through a tier 2 sponsorship visa, which is the school basically giving you a work permit, a certificate of sponsorship, which then allows you to go over and work there. You are allowed to take dependents on the COS. So that's what we do. We look for teachers generally with science, maths, geography, and modern foreign language are the top 4 subjects that we recruit for. So those 4 subjects are the most seen as the most placeable teachers. But that doesn't take away from the fact that we do place I've already said geography. We do place computer science, music, business, and we do place all those other subjects that history, humanities, we do an art, but the most teachers we place are maths, science, geography, modern foreign language. If you don't have QTS, which obviously if you've studied in the Philippines, you can't get QTS. That is okay. By law, you're allowed to teach for up to 4 years without QTS in the UK. And then obviously, so we just look for you. You must have a degree with a PGCE or a degree, like a teaching degree. So you must have some other form of teaching qualification to be able to apply for the Tier 2 skilled workers visa.
Right. As you said, Megan, about the requirements, because in the Philippines, we have this called license LET, or licensure in education teaching. Because I didn't have that one, because when I started teaching in the Philippines, I actually uh, um, taught in the university. So once I graduated, so I didn't have that. So can I actually apply if I don't have LET, or the licensure body in the Philippines?
So most schools go through a compliance process where they require that, but that's school specific. So if I stand correctly, that will be your teaching certificate, kind of teaching license.
Yes.
As long as you have some other form of teaching qualification, you'll be fine. Teaching
Right.
license, it will be good to have if you can get it. If you can't get a teaching license and it's difficult for you to get, especially I know some teachers are sitting in America or sitting in the UAE and they can't get hold of that teaching license. That's fine. Then schools just require them to get a letter of professional standing. So that will just be your current employer writing you a letter to being saying like, this
Hmm.
teacher is a professional teacher. They have professional standing in our employment structure.
Right. So that includes now a license to teach in the Philippines or anywhere in the world, and the your degree, basically. So those
Yeah.
are the main requirements.
Yes, most certainly.
All right.
There
So
are other documents that I can mention that helps, that is part of visa application, and that will be something like an English proficiency statement. So English proficiency statement is needed for your application for your visa, as well as you need a police clearance that has been within 6 months if you travel to a country for more than 6 months in the last 5 years. So those are the 2 things that are very important for a Filipino teacher to apply for a visa. So that's something you can get beforehand, so that when you do get a job position that you can just apply, you don't have to still make sure you have that documentation. And then when you get into the schools are going to require you to get a UK NARIC. And a UK NARIC is a statement of comparability. So it's just comparing your degree in the Philippines with your degree in the UK. So if you have those things, then as well as your qualification, you can apply for your visa and go into the school as a complied, cleared teacher.
all right. Okay. Um, so I think everything now well explained in terms of what are the requirements to have a tier two, or yeah, visa. Now, if I am going to apply through a recruitment agency, so for example, a recruitment agency which is Engage Education, um, let's assume that I have a teaching. I don't have an LET, which is a license in the Philippines as a teacher, because this is a question from our professor Carlo here from Thailand. But I have an experience. Can I still? Is it something that that you're going to evaluate, or you're going to say, all right, you need to have more experience, or you need to have at least license to teach?
Okay. I'm sorry, I just want to quickly make sure. Does he have a teaching qualification? but he doesn't have a license, or does he
Yes.
not have both?
Yeah, teaching experience. Yeah, yeah.
So he's just got the experience. He doesn't have the qualifications.
Yeah, so let's see. Professor Carlo, do you mind broadening your question in terms of do you have a qualification in Thailand, or do you have a qualification in the Philippines to teach, or is it just a bachelor's degree or master's degree you have? Maybe you can actually add that onto your comment.
Yeah,
Uh,
but to
yeah.
answer that as well with years of experience, because while he's quickly typing that out, is with regards to years of experience, it depends on the schools. Some schools want a highly qualified teacher with, say, a master's degree in education
Yeah.
with 25 years of experience that can run the show, and other
Mm,
schools want a newly graduated teacher with anything between eight I'd say 2 to 5 years of experience. It really depends on the school. And it also depends on your personality and who you are, and how your teaching qualities are.
mm.
So that years of experience, we always look at rule of thumb more than 2 years of experience, preferably four. But if you
Right.
have working rights, for example, you're coming over on a spousal or dependence visa, or then we do take, even if you don't have any teaching experience, we'll take you as a newly graduated teacher, and you'll still be able to get a job through us.
All right. Okay. That's actually clear, I think. Um, there's some questions here. So maybe we could actually go through that question later on. So um, I'm going to put myself now into a context where I have, so previous, well, as if I'm not a qualified teacher. So I have a degree in computer engineering in the Philippines, bachelor's degree in computer engineering. I've got a master's degree, which is computer science, but I didn't actually teach in in a public sector or a secondary or a primary in the Philippines. Then I moved to Bahrain. In Bahrain, I taught there for 3 years. So my what I'm holding, Megan, is my degree, solely my degree, which is my bachelor's degree and my master's degree. Can I, or will you be able to assist me to find a job in in a teaching role?
Yeah. So, Freddie, when you went over, there was something called supply teaching, which and invigilating and scribing, like administrative roles and things for teachers. But at the moment, they've stopped that. They don't, that visa doesn't exist anymore. So to apply for a tier 2 visa and for the school to get, because you will inevitably never be able to apply for QTS if you don't have a PGCE. So and obviously, those of you that don't know, the QTS gives you a better salary standing at most schools, because the salary scales, which you could find online, they are related to the QTS. So I would recommend that your chances of actually getting hired are a lot better if you do have that PGCE. We don't really see schools that accept teachers without the PGCE
All right.
anymore.
Yes, yeah. Just to give our viewers about what's gonna happen if you don't have the right qualification or the right teaching experience. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've got here. I've actually listed down my questions, Megan, but because there are some there are some uh,
Yeah.
comments here. Let's go
People that
ahead with
want
this
to
one.
ask.
Right. Here we go. Megan is my consultant. She's really supportive and proactive. I
Oh, who
hope.
is it? May I
I don't
know?
know because it says here Facebook user. So I hope you
Oh,
put your name here so we actually know.
yeah. I've got a
And
feeling I know who it is, and
all
I just sent her an email now today.
right. We have yeah, good evening, watching from Pangasinan in the Philippines. We
Oh,
also have watching from UAE.
Yeah, so we get a
Yeah.
lot of teachers that come from the UAE and America, from the Philippines. So you're more than welcome to apply.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's very feasible, and it's also a good step. Schools like teachers that are able to relocate, because they want
Mm,
to know that when they do employ you, you are able to adjust to a new lifestyle in the UK. Obviously, every country you go to has a different lifestyle,
mm,
so schools really like it when you have maybe been abroad before,
mm.
because that will help you with the ability to relocate and adapt in a new teaching environment.
Right. Okay. So let's assume now, I know we've got some questions here. I'm just going to go to the next step. So I have now a qualification. I'm actually now so let's set aside the dependent visa and possibly the tier two. But I'm here now in the UK under so say under uh yeah, spouse visa maybe, or something that I acquire
Yeah,
here.
maybe like a post grad visa.
Yeah. So um and you accepted my not really my application, but you require CV, correct?
Yes. So our CV standards are, if that's your question, are
Mm,
no CV gaps for 10 years, even though if you were still at school 10 years ago, still try and put that you were at school so that we know. So no CV gaps for 10 years. Under each employment, when I say no CV gaps, it's months and dates. So like from January 2019 to February 2020, and then again from March, so that there's no
mm,
gaps even in months. And then we also require you to at least list key responsibilities. So the schools really want to know, what did you do? They don't want to know you were, let's say for arguments, a computer science teacher at the international school in Bahrain. They want to know that, but they also want to do, what did you do as a computer science teacher in Bahrain?
mm,
Like, what programs did you deal with? Were
yeah.
you on some other leadership team? Just your key responsibilities, and then a nice little write up. From Engage Education's point of view, when we get your CV and we request a few like documents and photos of you, we to put together our entire marketing package that myself and my team do individually, and then we use that marketing package to send it over to the school. So we do also change your CVs. We first meet you, like I'm meeting, like Trey and I are chatting now, and we get to know
Mm,
each other, and then based on that, I make a marketing package and send you off to the schools. And yeah, we help improve your CV where we think possible,
mm,
for the certain school that we are applying
mm.
for.
Right. So yeah, so that's basically the question. Are you expecting like a, a full blown CV with all your duties and responsibilities, which you've asked actually answered. Personal statements, I think that's what you actually said, like how you market yourself, how you're going to promote yourself, and how you're going to say you are experienced teacher abroad, or a foreign teacher. Yes.
Yeah, and that's also what helps, is just to give you an idea, and why schools use recruitment agencies like Engage Education, is because we do the sifting process for them. Schools get thousands and thousands of applications, but it's not, then they have to work through it. Where if they take an employer teacher through us, we've already
Mhm.
done all those checks for them. Do they have the right qualifications? Do
Mm,
they have the right experience? Are they fit for the school? So I always say, when applying through a recruiting agency, rather put everything on your CV, because we can take out things that we don't find applicable, but then we have enough information on your CV to
mm.
market you out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think added to that, Megan, actually, I attest to that one, because when we actually open our vacancy here in my school, we have got tons of application, and of course, our application process is different, because if it's direct, you need to complete a tons of information, because we've got an application form, because it's a state school, so we need to follow that. However, going through the recruitment agency, as Megan said, they filter now the information. So when we receive it, when we receive that applicant or candidate, we are not overwhelmed like, all right, we're going to question each bit, So that
Yeah.
basically the role of, recruitment agency.
Yeah.
Um, Once you feel that uh, I'm marketable, so to speak,
Yeah.
and how are you going to start um, the process? Are you going to first have our initial interview? Because I remember way back, I know it's really an old school. I remember when the first recruitment agency. I don't know whether it exists. REC. That was like men a lot. Yeah, I've been here 15 years, so is I don't know
So
whether they still, yeah. But they actually asked me to complete another form. Is that what you normally do, or is it more on initial
yeah.
interview?
So what we do for the entire recruitment process is, once we've seen your CV and we're happy with what your CV is, what's in your CV, we have a meeting with you like this. We tend to do it always on a Zoom call, face-to-face video calling, because recruitment and immigration is such a scary, I want to say, like, for many people to move across the world. Some people it comes easy and they can't wait, and other people are scared about it. So we meet like this so that we can actually talk about everything. There's so many aspects of recruitment, and there's so many aspects of immigration and finding a job in the UK, that then it allows opportunity for me to meet and greet the person, and also to find out exactly what they're looking for with immigrating to the UK as a teacher. And then it allows that person to ask all the questions, like these questions I'm answering now for you, Freddie, and all your viewers. Is it's really a lot to process, and not all of it you can read it online, but you can't make sense of it. So we do that just to understand and to allow that in asking all those questions. I then fill out a form on my own. So after our interview, so we have our own forms, which is an online form that we fill out. So we ask you a few questions in the interview. For example, how's your classroom management style?
Mhm.
How do you make an impact on learners' lives? Short questions. It's not an interview. I don't expect you to have these picture perfect answers.
Answers.
It's just to get to know a teacher. And then after that, we put that marketing package that I spoke about. We do also then send our selected teachers. So if we select you to be profiled out to our schools, we obviously don't select everybody, just those that we've had a good encounter with. We then send you a lot of information with regards to, like, how to apply for QTS if you can. What are the salary scales? What does the tax look like? Where to find accommodation? We send you those type of, what documents do you need to require? We send you all of that. We also do have training and development that we also send you free access to, that you can go do training and development for UK schools. And then we send out your profile to the schools. So that's our selecting and profiling
Mhm.
process. It's quite thorough, just to make sure that we are doing a good screening process, and
Yes.
before we
Yeah.
send these candidates out to our schools.
Yeah, that's actually right because most of the schools, especially I'm going to basically talk about my school. We ask those questions, especially classroom management, behavioral issues, safeguarding. These are really important questions for us to understand whether a candidate knows about it. And because the state school here in the United Kingdom or in England or Wales, um, students are really challenging. That's the fact, and we want to make sure that you are still welcoming all the the diversity of
Yeah.
the classroom or the school itself. um Megan, we have questions here. If we can actually oh, it's Dolor. It's actually
Wow, the
Dolor.
Lord. How are you?
Yeah, it's Dolor. Yeah, I had a chat with Dolor as well, Megan, and yeah, remember we talked about that before
Yeah.
before our live stream,
Yeah.
right? Um, we have hello, sir. When is the hiring? All right. There's a question here. I don't know your name. I hope you put your name, because if you are on the Facebook group, please allow the StreamYard, because I'm using StreamYard. Yes. Hello, sir. When is the hiring season in the UK? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll answer that question with regards to our hiring intake with the two different options. So if you have working rights in the UK, they all year round, there's always a position open at a school somewhere close to your area. And because the UK has such amazing public transport, even though it might be a little bit out of your area, you can still travel there in quite a good time. So yes, so all year round, I would say, is a recruitment period if you have working rights. But if you're looking for a tier two sponsorship visa, recruitment periods are September, so the beginning of each UK term. So the school's year starts in September. So September, then the next term starts in Jan. So that's our next recruitment date, and the next one in March, April. We do get the odd people that start like in November and June, but that'll be like one or two teachers at schools that couldn't fill the posts in time, and then they just get somebody to cover while we get a teacher for them.
Yeah, that's right. So added to that, the reason why Megan said about September, January, March, because in the state school, or the education system here, we've got an autumn term, we've got a spring term, and summer term. So sometimes teachers actually disappeared, but of course they have,
Literally.
yeah, they have. Well, of course they have 2 weeks of informing us whether they're going to continue or not. But on the safe, on the safe side, that's what we normally do. We normally check each term before no one actually appeared in the classroom setting. Right.
Yeah.
There's a question here, Megan, about IELTS. Yeah, I think Megan already covered IELTS, Professor
No,
Carl.
he said, I think that's the same guy. Carlo is the guy that I asked if he has any teaching experience, I mean, teaching
Yes.
qualification. So
Mm.
that's English as a foreign language, I
Foreign
think
language,
that's it.
yes, that's
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
that's right. That doesn't qualify as, unfortunately, as a teaching certificate. That just gives you the ability to teach English as a second language.
Okay. There's another one. Sorry, we don't have the um.
No.
I hope you put your name here. How about a licensed professional teacher from the Philippines, sir, with 8 years of teaching experience and currently teaching here in Thailand now? Can I apply here without returning to the Philippines? There's a thumbs up with
Yes,
Megan.
you can. You can. So just to give you what how it works is, if you have right to work and stay and be in that country, if it's another country, so I'm guessing you're in Thailand on a working visa, which is perfectly fine, then you can apply in that country to go to the UK. But if you're on a visitor's visa in another country, like you're going on holiday to Germany, for example, you can't apply in Germany. So it's just if you have the right to be in that actual country. So yes, it's so easy to apply from Thailand. You can apply if the UK is something you're looking for and you're
Mm.
a qualified experienced teacher with 8 years. That's more than enough on your CV to apply through us for a work in the UK.
Wow. There you go. There's an answer now. So Megan is giving us clarity in terms of, possibility. Are you possible? Is it possible for you to teach in the UK from Thailand, directly from Thailand? Yes, I think, yeah, the answer is yes, for as long as, like Megan said, you've got the work permit there in Thailand, going to the UK rather than a visit visa. Yeah. Uh, IELTS band. There's a question about IELTS band here. Uh,
It's the same. It's the same, Carla. It's like you have to have like PGCE or diploma in
mm,
education or
mm,
certificate in education, unfortunately.
mm, right.
And there are a lot of institutions that do offer PGCE online.
Yeah. And also added to that, there is now what we call IQTS. So that opens door for, like, it's called International Qualified Teaching Status. So that is also equivalent for QTS. So
Yeah.
they started it this year as a pilot. I don't know what's gonna happen next
Yeah.
year. So fingers crossed, Philippines is gonna be part of the the
The-
country which is eligible for QTS. Yeah. Is there a
So,
chance? So,
Yes, so I read that question. Yes, there is a chance. We actually hired a primary teacher, school teacher this year. It's not a heard of situation. So it's not like it happens every week. It's very scarce for a primary school teacher to get a COS. If you have working rights, once again, primary, secondary, it doesn't matter. We can place you, even if you're not a qualified teacher. By the way, we can still place you in our schools as a teaching assistant or cover supervisor if you are have the working rights. But if you don't need one in a tier 2 sponsorship, we're getting a few more primary schools wanting to sponsor, but it's not as needed as a secondary. So, for example, we got one this week, and we literally celebrated so hard because we don't get many primary school sponsorships.
wow. That's include the state school. I mean,
Yeah.
oh,
So this, because even if you secondary qualified, a lot of teachers prefer primary. So, and because primary schools also have TAs, a lot of TAs, which also helps boost the amount of employees in a primary school.
right. I have a question here. Well, I'm just looking at, I'm picturing out what you've actually said, Megan, about, if they are in Thailand, they can actually go to the UK. You can actually assist them. Engaged partners could actually assist them. It looks to me that, well, we got a conversation or kwentuhan. We call it kwentuhan, like storytelling in English, or chit chat in a slang. So ideally, like Dolor or Marlene's case, they actually, well, especially Dolor, she had, of course, I don't want to, give me a permission, Dolor, if you want me to to disclose this, but it looks to me that, if you are in the Philippines, it's difficult to basically process the
So what
application.
it is that there's many teachers that struggle with this, many Filipino teachers. What it is the Filipino law and government want to have control over the immigration of employees. So, for example, you need to go to OEC, and for an OEC, which is the Overseas Employment Certificate, for the school to be able to give that, they need to have many. They need to fulfill many roles and legal requirements. So some schools that have experience in recruiting Filipino teachers, they are fine with providing an OEC, but they have to belong to the Filipinos of London Association. So that makes them need to do so much and pay so much money, and not many schools are open to do that. So coming out of the Philippines isn't so easy without an OEC, and schools, because it's something that's unknown, schools can be quite hesitant to what it actually entails. So we do try from our side as much as we can to try and educate the schools on this factor. But at the end of the day, they have the hiring power. We don't hire the teacher directly. We just passing the teacher on. So we don't have we don't employ the teachers directly. For a few of my other Filipino teachers that I place, it really depends. It depends on the school.
All right. So I have a question here from from a direct question from my messenger here. My husband is in the UK, but I'm here in the Philippines. Can I apply for? Can I apply for? A teaching job in the UK. The first thing I actually said, do you actually have a dependent visa status, or have you already applied? Is that correct, Megan?
Yeah.
To
So
ask, yeah.
your husband is over. So I'm guessing her husband would be over on a tier 2 visa, or whatever may be his visa. If he's working there, it has to be on a tier 2 visa. You can apply for a dependent visa, and we'll definitely be able to give you a teaching job. If you don't have a teaching qualification, then we could give you a teaching assistant job, which will be like you'll be the assistant in the teacher's class. So if you don't have, you can still be in the education sector. You're more than welcome to send your CV over to me. I'll definitely be able to help you. It's just very important then just to state your area, because we just need to know where your husband's placed so that we can just make sure that you're placed close to your husband.
Right. Okay. I'm going to send this another Facebook user. Sorry, I need to know your name if that's possible. Yeah, Sir
Great.
Fred, how can I contact? I'm going to post Megan's email address later on. Uh, after well before we end our live stream. So Megan, you've already collected everything, like you've done your form, you've informed the school. What is the waiting time in terms of?
Okay, so that's a very good question. And maybe when I answer this question, Freddie, I'll take you through the rest of the recruitment process. So, the waiting period is really dependent on your visa. So, we have some teachers that we literally interview, like we call the Monday, and then maybe like in a week or two, they're already placed at a school. It really depends on the teacher itself. Other teachers we have on our books for like a year or two, and then they only get placed. And some of our teachers never get placed. And I can't tell you what the reason is, really, because some of the teachers that don't get placed, they are the most amazing teachers in my eyes. And me meeting them, I really thought they would get placed. That's the only reason, obviously, why we select teachers. But it's really dependent on how that CV and that teaching experience links with the school, and if the school is happy with that experience and CV. So that's with regards to length. And if you are selected to go for an interview at a school, Engage Education, actually one of my colleagues are sitting in the office next door busy doing this at the moment. We do interview preparation. So it's once again a call like we're having now with we invite all our teachers. So if you can attend we have 3 a week, so you can attend all 3 in 1 week, or you can just attend one. It's your prerogative. We have interview prep, so we prep you on what to expect in a UK interview. What questions do they ask? How to answer these questions? What to think of? What is a good image that you can give them, and what your do's and don'ts, what the do's and don'ts are based on our experience. And then you go for your interview. And if you are successful with your interview and you get your COS, we help you with the visa application process. We also have about 10 CPD sessions, career development plan sessions, before you get over to the UK, where we say how to do classroom management in the UK, how to prepare for a lesson in the UK, how to do safeguarding in the UK, and also how to find a place to live, how to open a bank account. We do all of that. So we really do. Our team has been around for more than 10 years. So we do have a lot of experience with teachers wanting to go over. So we do know what teachers generally need help with. And then we do that. And I like to think of our approach as a holistic approach from Engage Education side.
That is really important for a recruitment agency to support their candidates or the applicants, because especially coming from an international or a foreign country, like me, when I came here in the UK, I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? How am I going to start? So it's a lot of research that I did that time. So I think those, like what Megan said, these are really important for any teacher or it's like initial teacher training, to be honest. But uh, as for you to know the environment here in the UK, you need to understand everything. It's not about your knowledge in teaching. It's not just about, oh, I know maths, I know science, I know English, I know my expertise in terms of teaching. But the main area is the classroom management, and then it blossoms. So everything blossoms there. Right. So Megan, you've said about interviews. So you're preparing them for an interview. Is it for interviewing from the head teacher or
Yeah. So we've seen schools do it on different bases. Some schools, with your first interview, you'll be already in an interview with the head teacher and the HOD of that department that you're applying for. And other schools, you'll first meet with the school's HR and maybe a deputy head teacher. And then the next interview, you'll meet with your head teacher. And then the next interview, you'll maybe have to give a lesson for your HOD, which we also help with. We help with lesson preparations and lesson plans.
Mm.
We do help edit your lessons and things to suit the school's needs. So it really depends. Some teachers go for one interview and they already get the offer, and some teachers go through 2-3 interviews before they get the offer.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Megan. We have here um, question is from Kimberly. Hello, Sir Freddy and Megan. I applied as a nursery teacher in the UK and got an offer letter just this week. Yes, it is true. It costs so much money.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it is, but it's unfortunately immigration in general costs so much money, regardless of where one goes.
Yeah, I experienced this, Megan, because when I applied for a job in Bahrain, so there was a recruitment agency in the Philippines. So of course, the recruitment process is a lot. Like you need to do attend trainings, medicals. So if you are fit to work, so basically those are the things. Then you need to have this OEC, the certificate. Maybe Filipinos can actually correct me here, because before it's called OEC, the certificate itself, and the immigration should actually see that you've done the training. Otherwise, you're not going to fly. Though you have a
Yeah.
ticket, you're not going to fly. So that's gonna be a daunting experience. Right. Michelle Nazar. Yeah. Is there a high chance of getting a teaching assistant job in the UK if you already got experience from the British school in Dubai? Oh, maybe she's actually from Dubai.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, Michelle, it depends. You won't get sponsored or get a tier 2 work permit for a teaching assistant because it's not the skill level of qualification needed for a teaching assistant isn't high enough. But if you have working rights, there is a very high chance that you will get a job as a teaching assistant. You might start off with something that we call day-to-day teaching. It's, for example, the school needs somebody for this week, and you will go into that school that week and maybe get a day-to-day job at another school before you find a long-term role, which is a
Mm,
permanent long-term contract
mm,
for about a month, maybe 2 months, depending on what you get.
mm,
But yes, there are many teaching assistant roles open in the UK if you do
mm.
have working rights. So yeah.
Yeah, it's like a supply teacher, right? So you go to another school.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that will be
Mm,
like
mm.
your supply teaching day to day, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So when does the recruitment end? Or so when you deployed me, so I'm now hired in a school under, engaged partners or engaged in education. What's gonna happen next? Are you going to say bye bye now, or
No, not at all, not at all. So we do have professionals that also help with, if you are struggling in your school and you need some help with something, we send him in and he comes to help you in your class if you really are struggling with certain things, or just an online consult with him or with us. But we never lose your number. Once teachers are placed, we generally give them our WhatsApp numbers. Only once they're placed, otherwise we have thousands of WhatsApps every day. And we generally help with a facilitation role. Might it be anything, we do really try and help. And if it's something that you need help with regards to the school, we do also from Engage Education side go to the school, maybe do a school visit or speak to the school and see how the school can assist you in any way.
right? Okay. There's a clear inquiry here. If you are non-UK language or physics teacher, the UK government has an international. Oh, this is from, I think, Yami, Professor
Yeah,
Yami. Yeah, yeah. Wow. Yes, I know the 10,000.
yeah,
For physics teachers. So that's what
yeah.
Megan is saying. I know Megan is not saying just only for science teachers, but of
Mhm.
course, the advantage or there's a
Yeah.
shortage in terms of science teachers here in the UK, or math teachers. Unfortunately, if you are math teachers, you cannot really get this 10,000 allocation. But if you are if you are a science teacher, yes.
Yeah, just one thing to keep in mind as well. Yeah, schools do also, some schools do give relocation bonus, but it's like it's extremely scarce. If you do get it, then well done, and you must be very, very happy. But just to give you also a heads up, schools only give it to you once you are there. So you need to have it already spent that money and gone over. You'll generally get that, as well as the UK government bonus. You'll get it once you've already had those expensive and send those expenses in and then claim it back.
All right. Okay. So, I have a couple of questions here before we. I know, Megan, you are busy as well, and you are 2 hours ahead, right? Yes, in South Africa. Um, let's assume that. What do you think? Because you are an expert here, in this field as a TAC. What do you think? Why Filipino fails in the initial process of, in recruitment, in terms of, age, from your from your own view? What do you
Yeah.
think, or in general, not maybe not just Filipinos, but in general, applicants in general?
Why do they maybe not successful?
Yeah, yeah.
So
From the first
generally,
stage, yeah.
yeah, from the first stage, generally, if you're not successful from the first stage of just seeing your CV, it's because you don't have the necessary qualifications or experience.
Mm.
Also, some teachers are online teachers their whole life, which makes it very difficult, because then your classroom management skills and your safeguarding skills might be not that far. And you to be able to then adapt to a new country, as well as adapting to a new learning style, teaching style, as well as a new culture of school, rather than just being online, also makes it very difficult. So it really depends on your CV. That's why I always say put as much as you can in your CV, so that we can really see what you can provide for a school. So it's normally that you don't have the right qualifications, or your CV isn't adapted. You guys won't believe we get CVs from people that are not even teachers, or remotely even had experience as teachers. So that will be the only reason why you'd be not considered from the beginning.
Right. Is there any do you have any CV support by any chance, Megan, or do you have any template that they can actually use?
Yeah, so we do have templates. That's what we do. So when you give us our CV and you are selected for profile, we have a CV template
Right.
that we put your CV into before sending it over to the schools. So we do that for you.
And also, what do you think now? So say you have, well, I passed my initial interview, which is from Engaged Partners or Engaged Education. What's gonna be? Do you think the failure, or do you have any? Did you hear any feedback from the teachers or from the school? Why did they not hire what you've, given to them?
Yeah. So for some people, it's really difficult. If the school doesn't give us feedback, it's really difficult for us to give feedback to the candidate. But majority of the time, it will just be a misfit, in the sense of, doesn't mean the teacher is necessarily not a good teacher. It's just that what the school is looking for and what that teacher can bring to the table is not aligned. We all know different schools have different ways of operating, and maybe you just don't fit in with that teaching style, or the atmosphere of the school, and that will be the only reason. Some people do really stress out in an interview, and then the teacher that we've maybe seen was just a little bit too stressed in their interview and didn't answer their questions as well as they could. Obviously, it's very difficult to show your personality and your teaching style and who and what you are over a camera. For some of us, especially for you, Freddie, that has your own
Yeah,
online platform, it comes naturally and
yeah.
easy.
Mhm.
Some really do struggle. So it's mainly got to do with those things.
Right. Um, but if I know this is a different question. Thinking about, I have a dependent visa. Is it going to be easy? Like applying? Yeah.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, you can ask. You can actually. I'm hoping a few of my placed teachers that are on dependent visa will comment, but it is quite. easy. Some areas are more difficult than others, and you might have to do supply teaching for a while until you get a long-term or permanent post. And the only reason why those areas will be difficult is due to the fact of their population growth, or population demographics. So at the moment, they only have 3 schools in the entire area. So those 3 schools are filled by locals with UK teaching experience. So it's very difficult for you to maybe get a teaching job there. Whereas if you're at a school in a place like London, there are so many schools that need so many teachers, so your possibility is higher. So we do get people that are placed in rural settings that are very far out of any big city. It is more difficult to place them. But if you're placed in anywhere close to Watford, anywhere close to London, we should be able to help you quite easily.
Right. Okay. So, like what Megan said, if you are considering London or Watford area, yeah, there's a demand.
A
I
big
think
demand.
I think the main reason is the population, like what Megan said, is just basically the population within the city. That's the reason why now state schools are being changed to academy because of this. There's some merging going on, right? Um, I know we've been chatting about this or doing our kwentuhan, Megan, for an hour now, almost an hour. What is going to be your last advice or your advice before we say goodbye to our subscribers?
I always say to the people that I interview is, from our side as a recruiter, we really do try our best. We really do advocate for you and try our best from our side for you. And sometimes you feel a little bit in the dark because you're not control of your recruitment process, but we really do try. From your side as a teacher, I would really recommend getting your documentation together, making sure your passport is in date, making sure you do have an English proficiency statement, making sure you do have a valid police clearance and all those things, just so that we know that you have everything, because it makes everything just so much quicker. My experience that I do say, I do want to commend all the Filipino teachers that I have dealt with have really been proactive, which is great. They really do have all their documents and answer their emails and are very, very helpful. So that is a very good experience from my side. But yeah, that's all I can say. Good luck. It's not easy. To give
Yes.
you guys an idea, we get about 3,000 applicants a month, and we only have so many schools wanting to either sponsor or employ teachers. So we do try our best from our side.
Yeah, well said. I think this is really an eye opening to our old subscribers or to our old listeners about the recruitment process, or yes, basically the recruitment process through a recruitment agency, how they can actually, what are their expectations, from the day that they've submitted their CV and from the day that they're going to have initial interview, then questions, and then deploying to the school. So um, before we end, mga professors, I would like to say that this is not sponsored by education partners. It's just that Megan really, I've been sending messages or through emails with Megan, and she's really welcoming, Filipinos, because she believes about the Filipino talents in terms of,
Yeah.
teaching. And this, I hope that this basically opens doors for all Filipinos, that there is a chance, there's really a chance for us to become a teacher in the UK. If there are Filipinos now here in the UK who are teachers, so I can still, I believe that this is going to happen for in the future, uh, because most of you, well, they've asked about Megan's email address. This is Megan's email address. I'm going to post it here. Yeah, so you can send it direct to Megan, and Megan is just going to make sure you get your CV right, done properly. Your
Not right,
personal
we'll help
statement.
you. We'll
Yeah,
help you. We'll help you. But
yeah,
just try your best.
yeah, and your personal statement. Yes, So once again, Megan, thank you very much for coming over, and your ideas or your expertise could actually be, really helpful. I believe it opens doors for our all kababayans or Filipinos who are wanting to become a teacher in the UK. So thank you very much,
Thank
Megan,
you.
and I hope
Thank you,
you
Rudy.
yeah, and I hope that we're going to see you soon. I'm going to see you here. Hopefully next
Yeah.
year. Yeah, hopefully
Yeah, we
next
could
year
do
if you're
one
going
next
to,
year.
yeah, if you're going to visit the UK. So please
Yeah.
send me a message so we can
Maybe
actually.
maybe you, I, and another Filipino to share their experiences through us.
Yes, yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. So there you have it, mga professors. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more journeys with your teacher, ka-Freddy, at your service. And always remember, mga professors, that every day is a journey. Thank you, mabuhay!